on YouTube as well. So it's all good now. Okay, perfect. So thank you very much for joining in, for watching this live stream or recording if you watch the recording. And today's topic is a blue card. So I'll go through the presentation right now, and there will be a space for your questions at the end of the live stream as well. So let's jump right in. What is a blue card? Blue card is a type of a long-term residence permit in the Czech Republic, which allows you to stay in the Czech Republic and work at some specific position with one specific employer. It's kind of similar to an employee card, with the difference that for a blue card, you need to meet some additional conditions. And what are the conditions? Who qualifies for the blue card? Basically, there are just two main conditions different from the employee card. First is that your salary must be at least equivalent to 1.5 of an average Czech salary that particular year, because that increases every year. So at least 1.5 of an average Czech salary. And second condition is that you need to have at least a bachelor's degree. If you meet these conditions, then you can apply for the blue card. If you don't meet these conditions, you can apply for an employee card, for example, because that is meant for any type of position, any type of education, any type of salary, and any like height of the salary. Okay, so now how to get the blue card? It depends if you are in the Czech Republic when applying for it, or if you're not in the Czech Republic yet. If you are in the Czech Republic under some kind of long-term visa or long-term residence permit, you can apply for the blue card at the Ministry of the Interior, where you usually go to do whatever with your visa or residence permit. So you just collect all the documents and submit them at the Ministry of the Interior. If you are not in the Czech Republic, you need to submit the blue card application through a Czech Embassy, in general in the country responsible for the country of your origin, or in any Czech embassy if you have the exception that you can apply through any Czech embassies, because there are like 40 different nationalities which are allowed to submit their applications through any Czech embassy in the world, that they don't have to do it in the country of their origin. And how to get the blue card in 7 steps. So step number 1, find an employer who's willing to help you with the process. Number 2, advertise the position through the labor office. That's mainly responsibility of your landlord, of your employer, but you have to do it. Step 3, get all the required documents together. Step 4, apply for the blue card at some Czech embassy or at the Ministry of the Interior, depending. Number 5, step 5, wait. The ministry officially has 90 days to approve the application, but as you know already, it can take longer or shorter time. Then once you're approved, step number 6, get to the Czech Republic, go to the Ministry of the Interior and apply for the biometric card. And step number 7, report the start of employment to the labor office. Again, that's this responsibility of your employer, but it needs to be done. So now the steps in details. Finding an employer. I get this question a lot, but you cannot get a blue card if you don't have an employer. You always need to have an employer who's willing to help you with the process. And that's especially because of the second step, that they need to advertise. If you want to get a blue card, the position you will be applying for must be advertised through the labor office for some amount of time. And this is done by the employer. So if you don't have an employer, you cannot complete this step and you cannot get the blue card. So that's why it's important. And the first step, number 1, is to find an employer who is willing to help you with that. So step number 2 would be advertising the position through the labor office. This is a very important step because it can easily mess up the whole process if you don't do it correctly. So it's always best to hire someone to help you with that if you're a company which doesn't have that much experience with such application, because it's a very important step. And step number 3, get all the documents required for the blue card together. I'll go through the documents in the next video or in a couple seconds. So then number 4, once you have all the documents, you need to go to a Czech Embassy or to the Ministry of the Interior, depending on where you're applying, submit all the documents there, and now step number 5, you wait. As mentioned before, the ministry officially has 90 days to approve the blue card application, but in real life, it can take shorter time or it can take way longer. That depends on a couple things. I explained similar thing when I was having live stream about the employee card. But if the application is prepared properly, you have all the documents, they are correct, you submit them properly, the ministry should make the decision within the 60 to 90 days. If they take longer, it can be either because they're planning something, because they're maybe waiting to request some more documents, or they want you to nostrify your foreign diploma. There can be many reasons, but if they exceed the legal deadline, which is the 90 days, you can already take some legal steps. You can send an official complaint, and that it starts the process moving or gets the process moving. So, but besides that, until they reach the 90 days, you cannot really do anything else than wait. Once you are approved, that's step number 6. You need to go either back to the embassy where you applied for the blue card and get a special 60-day visa to be able to come to the Czech Republic and finish the process here. Or if you applied in the Czech Republic, or if you have a valid visa for the Czech Republic, either a Schengen visa or whatever, you can directly go to the Ministry of the Interior, responsible for the area where you live, and you need to do your biometric appointment. So you need to give your fingerprints. They will take a digital photo of you. You will make a digital signature. And then 2-3 weeks later, you pick up the actual blue card. It's not blue, by the way, but it's called the blue card. Yeah, and then the last step is step number 7, and that's reporting the start of employment to the labor office. It also, or again, it needs to be done by your employer, but it's one of the required steps. And if the employer doesn't do that, they can get both you and themselves into quite a bit of trouble. So it's definitely an important step, and you definitely need to do that. Yeah, okay, so that was the documents needed for the blue card. And, well, no, that wasn't the document, sorry, it was the steps. That was the 7 steps to get the blue card. But now let's go through the documents needed for the blue card. So what documents are needed to get a blue card? Number 1, application form. Number 2, passport. Number 3, passport size photos, 2. Number 4, proof of accommodation. Number 5, employment contract. Number 6, proof of your education. Number 7, administrative fee. Number 8, criminal check from the country of your origin and all the countries where you have lived longer than 6 months in the last 3 years. Those are the general documents. The ministry can request some additional documents as well, but these are the main ones, and they usually don't need anything else. So let's go through the documents one by one right now. So document number 1, application form. Nothing too complicated there. It's both in Czech and English, so that's easy. Number 2, passport. Of course, your passport needs to be valid. It needs to have some blank pages, at least 2 blank pages, to be able to get a visa and a sticker from the foreign police. And it should not be older than 10 years and should be valid for, let's say, 1.5 more years, or like for long enough. You should not apply if your passport is expiring in like a couple months. Then 2 passport size photos, easy, nothing too complicated there. Then proof of accommodation. Even if you're applying for the blue card through a Czech embassy, which means that you're not physically in the Czech Republic, and in many cases you cannot even come here without a visa, then you still need to prove that you have accommodation arranged for at least a year. Yeah, there are ways to do that. Get in touch if you want to know more about that. But it's just a requirement, you need to have it. Then employment contract, that's another reason why you need to find an employer first, because if you don't find an employer, you will not be able to get an employment contract. So of course the employment contract must meet some requirements as well. It needs to be, it needs to include the same information as the job advertisement at the labor office, which was the first step in getting the blue card. but besides that, it's a pretty standard document. And if your employer is experienced in hiring people in general and hiring foreigners as well, then they should have no problem with that. Then education, proof of your education, because one of the requirements, as I mentioned in the beginning, is that you need to have at least bachelor's degree or at least university education which lasted for at least 3 years. So you need to be able to prove it. Of course, if you didn't study in the Czech Republic and you have the degree from some country other than the Czech Republic, it most likely will need to be apostilled or super legalized and definitely officially translated into Czech before you can use it for the visa process. The ministry can also request something called nostrification. Nostrification is basically a confirmation. So, okay, what is a nostrification? Nostrification is recognition of your foreign education in the Czech Republic. That means that if you studied your university, for example, in India, then the Czech government needs to verify that your education in this field in India is equal to the same education in that field you would get in the Czech Republic. That's kind of like a long-term process, and it's a bit of a trouble. So it's better not to have to do it. But if you have to do it, then you do it the way that you find a university program which is similar to what you studied in whatever country you studied in, and send all your documents, your diploma and the transcript of all the subjects to the university, and they evaluate it. And if they see it's very similar to what they teach, they will give you the nostrification and recognition of your diploma in the Czech Republic. If not, they will not give it to you, and you need to try with some other university and some other program. Yeah, so it's better if you ideally have like master's degree or something, because then there is no question if it's equivalent to bachelor's, because it's even higher. So yeah, but the ministry can request it. Then you need to pay administrative fee at the Czech Embassy or at the Ministry of the Interior if you apply in the Czech Republic. And then you also need to have a criminal check from the country of your origin. That cannot be older than 3 months. It needs to be apostilled, super legalized, translated into Czech, all this. And also criminal checks from all the countries where you have lived for longer than 6 months in the last 3 years. Yeah, and that's basically it. Then you take all the documents, you submit them to the Ministry of the Interior or to the Czech Embassy, and you wait. I've been through the process before. Extension of the employee card, extension of the blue card. That's actually pretty simple. If you stay under the same employer, you basically just need to prove that you are still employed there. So your employment contract plus some extension of the contract or some confirmation that the contract is still valid. You need to get a proof of accommodation, pay the administrative fee, get photos, fill in an application form, take it all to the Ministry of the Interior, and wait. You can work during the whole time. You can travel if you get a bridging visa, or if you apply enough in advance and you still have a valid blue card. And then you just wait. There is usually no problem with extending the employee card. It can only get complicated if you as well want to change your employer. So what are the rules for changing employer under the blue card? There are 2 different rules depending on how long you have been in the Czech Republic. If you have been here less than 2 years, change of employer needs to first get approved by the Ministry of the Interior, which means that you cannot change employer until the ministry says that you're okay to do that. I'll get to it in a second. And the second option, if you've been here longer than 2 years, then you don't need to wait for approval of the ministry. You just need to let them know within 3 business days. That's a significant difference. So how you change employer if you're within the first 2 years of the validity of your blue card. Basically, the new employer also needs to meet the requirements for the blue card. So the position must be, the salary of the position must be at least equivalent to 1.5 of the average Czech salary for that particular year. And you need to have still at least the bachelor's degree, but I guess you still have it if you had it for the first application. So that's the first requirement. That's the job must meet all the requirements, and it must be advertised through the labor office and get a special vacancy number, which you then use for in the application. And then you provide documents related to your new job. That means the new employment contract. And if they need some special education as well, so you provide the proof that you have that particular education as well or qualification. And then you take this to the Ministry of the Interior and they start evaluating the application. They go through it. If they see that something is missing or incorrect, they will send you a letter saying, okay, this is incorrect. Please bring us some other documents. If they see that everything is all right and you submitted everything properly, then they will approve it, send you a letter saying that you can change employer and you can start at the new position. And then you can start at the new position. If you are already past the 2 years in the Czech Republic under the blue card, then you can change employers freely. You just always need to report the change within 3 business days. So you need to report that you quit your job or that you left your job. And you also need to report that you started a new job. So the significant thing is that 2 years is the borderline. Before that, it's complicated because you need to ask for approval. After 2 years of being here, you don't need to ask for approval. You just report it to the ministry. So those were the main rules and most important information about the blue card. And now there is the time for your questions. I can see that some people are still watching. So either on YouTube or Facebook, if you have any questions, please type them in. I'll be happy to reply. Of course, ideally it should be related to the blue card, but if you have some questions which are not related to the blue card, but you want to ask me as an immigration expert, please do that. I'll be happy to answer those as well. So I'll give you a couple more seconds because if you don't have any questions, I'll just dance for you for a bit and then we'll disappear and we'll leave the stream. If you have some questions, you still have a couple seconds to type them in and I'll be happy to answer them. And of course, guys, if you like my content, if you like what I do, and if you find this useful, please share it, like it, comment it, let other people know that I'm here and that I can help. Okay, we have a question on YouTube. Caesar the Tax Killer is asking, can blue card apply for self-employed person? Živno. No, unfortunately, super like my content. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you, Caesar, and I'm happy that I'm bringing some value. So to answer your question, the blue card only applies to employment. So if you're self-employed, you unfortunately need to stay under the business visa or business residence permit. Or of course, if you have some other purpose of stay, for example, family reunification, and you just have the trade license, the živno, as a side thing, as a side activity, you can keep doing that. You can, in theory, have the blue card for one position and freelance for another position. You can have both at the same time. But the blue card itself is only meant for employment. So the company which is willing to work with you and help you with the process, they need to employ you for you to be able to get the blue card. If they don't employ you and just want to work with you on the freelancer basis, unfortunately, the blue card cannot be obtained and you need to pursue other routes. Either just get a trade license and keep the current residence permit or visa you have, or apply for the business visa or for the business residence permit. I actually covered this in some of the previous videos. So if you're watching on YouTube, then please just go through my channel and you see the business residence permit videos there and some others definitely on my TikTok and on YouTube should be as well. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have some additional questions, please feel free to ask. And some more people joined on Facebook. So if you have any questions there, please ask me as well. This is the time to do that because otherwise I'll be leaving the stream soon, very soon. Thank you. Thank you, Caesar, as well. It's great to see that you're here, that you ask questions and that you interact. It really keeps me going. So the one last dance, one last chance for you to ask questions. And if no one else has any other questions, I'll be leaving in like 10 seconds. I'm not a good dancer, so if you don't like this, it's completely understandable. Feel free to leave. Yeah, okay, I don't see any more questions coming. Oh, there is one from Mayank. So I almost left. It is also possible to change from employee card to blue card after 2 years of stay in the Czech Republic. Yeah, this is kind of a very specific question. It's a good question. Usually people try to do it the other way, that they get the employee card and then they get a better job and try to switch to the blue card. I don't know about any like law which would say that you cannot do it. So you can do it. In real life, not too many people do that. I don't think we've had any case like that, and we've worked with like 9,000 clients in the 10 years we've been in the business, and I don't think we've ever had a case like that someone would be changing from the employee card to the blue card. But in theory, it's possible. You just need to make sure that the new position, like for the blue card, is advertised through the labor office as a position for a blue card, and that it meets all the requirements. So it needs to be at least, the salary needs to be at least 1.5 of the average Czech salary that year, and you need to have at least bachelor's degree. If you meet these conditions, and if the job is advertised as a position for a blue card, meets all the requirements, then you can apply for the blue card. To be safe, I would recommend still extending the employee card, because if you have the employee card ending and you apply for the blue card, and for some reason the blue card is not approved, and you didn't extend the employee card before, then you have nothing. You need to leave the Czech Republic and you need to start over. So that would be unfortunate. So definitely first extend the employee card and then try to switch to the blue card. I don't see any legal problem in that. Casey, hi, thank you very much for joining. You unfortunately came to the last section. So if you have any questions, either about the blue card or in general about immigration, type it in now, because otherwise I'll be leaving in a second. And also, Mayank, please let me know if the answer was good enough, or if you have some additional questions, please feel free to ask. I'll be dancing for you for another couple seconds. Yeah, so I do these live streams on different topics every Monday and Thursday. So feel free to join. It's always on YouTube and it's always on Facebook. And then I cut these long live streams and videos, and I condense the information, and I share shorter videos on my TikTok, on my Instagram, sometimes on LinkedIn as well. So you can follow me everywhere, and you either get a shorter but very intense content, or you can watch me here and get like a longer version with further and deeper explanation, plus the benefit of being able to ask a question and me answering it. Mayank, thanks for the answer. It was clear enough. Happy to hear that. That's why I'm here, to make it easy for you guys. So I'll be dancing a bit more, and if some other question pops up, I'll answer it. If not, 10 seconds and I'm gone. And I also keep the recordings in my group on Facebook. It's called Expats in CZE Help and Support Group, because I want to help there as many people as possible with whatever trouble they're facing in the Czech Republic, mainly from the immigration perspective, but also from other perspectives like a daily life perspectives. So you can join the groups there as well. Okay, so it doesn't seem that any further questions will be coming. So thank you very much, guys, for being here. It was a pleasure to serve you and to give some advice and to share some information. Follow me everywhere, share the content if you find it useful, and see you next time. See you on Monday or Thursday next week.